Your adductors are one of the most overlooked muscle groups in your body, yet they play a crucial role in terms of lower body strength, stability, and mobility. Ignoring them can lead to nagging pain, decreased performance, and a higher risk for injury. Today, I'm sharing 10 of my favorite prehab exercises to help you build bulletproof adductors and keep your hips strong, mobile, and injury-free. Whether you're an athlete, a gym-goer, or just looking to avoid groin pain, this routine is exactly what you need. Now keep in mind, you don't have to do all 10 moves. I've put together a comprehensive list so that you can choose the moves that work best for you, your goals, and your routine. And remember, this routine is designed for prehab to prevent issues before they even start. If you're currently dealing with a groin pull or significant pain, it's important to seek medical advice from a physical therapist before attempting these exercises. With all that being said, let's jump right in. All right, so move number 1 is going to be the hip adductor Cossack rock. What you're gonna do for this one is you're gonna get on all fours and stick one leg off to the side. You wanna try to keep this knee as locked out as possible. Now from here, you're gonna keep your chest up super tall, rock your hips back, and at the bottom position here, I want you to bring your toes up towards the ceiling before bringing it back down and then rocking forward. What I really want you to do is really be active in driving that knee into extension. And then also, as you're in this bottom position and you reach up, I want you to kind of push your leg weight into the ground here. As opposed to just kind of being relaxed and passive like this, I want it to be a little bit more engaged as you turn the foot up and back down before you come back up. Now, when you're in this sort of split position like this, obviously we're getting a lot of good length throughout our adductors, but also when we bring our foot up towards the ceiling like this, we're getting some hamstrings, we're getting some adductors this way as well, just from different angles and different positions. Your adductors wrap in different ways, and it's important to target that array rather than being super one-dimensional and only stretching in one particular way. All right, so I really like the adductor Cossack rock to really address the adductor from all different angles. All right, so move number 2 is going to be the loaded open half kneel adductor dip. So for this one, you're gonna drop down into a kneeling position, so more upright, and you're gonna swing this leg out to the side. This is where the open half kneeling dip comes into play. You're gonna grab onto a kettlebell or a dumbbell, but also you can do this body weight as well. But I just like the load because it helps me sink deeper into the position. From here, you're gonna grab onto the weight, get nice and upright, keep your core engaged, and you're gonna dip off to the side here. So you're bringing this knee over the toes as far as you can before coming back to the start position. So you're here nice and upright, dipping down to the side before coming back up. All right, now try to be active here again, just like the previous stretch. We're gonna be a little bit more engaged rather than just kind of slumping down into position. You're being active, really mindfully coming down, getting a good stretch throughout the adductors before coming back up. All right, so with this move, you're not only getting adductor lengthening on the front leg here, but you're also getting it on the stance leg here. So you're getting both at the same time as you're going through the movement. This is a little bit different from the adductor Cossack rock where you're in more of a passive position. This one, you're in a much more active position where gravity's becoming more of an active role in the equation and you have to control more elements. It involves a little bit more stability and feels a little bit more functional. So I really like the open half kneeling adductor dip for that reason. All right, so move number 3 is going to be a glute bridge with an adductor squeeze. All right, so for this one, you're gonna grab a medicine ball of some sort. I actually prefer a smaller medicine ball because it feels a little bit better. I would ideally want your knees and your feet to be in more of a hip width position, but any size medicine ball is going to do ultimately fine. All right, so you're gonna have that between the knees and you're gonna lower yourself down into a glute bridge position. All right, so from here, you're going to push into the floor with your feet, bridge your hips up and squeeze your glutes like a normal glute bridge. But what I also want you to do is squeeze the ball really firmly, really tight for about 10 seconds or so before relaxing and coming back down. All right, so not only are you getting hip extension here, but you're also getting adduction and really getting a good squeeze. Now I really really like the glute bridge with adductor squeeze because it's the first time we're going away from mobility moves to true, more isolated strengthening work for the adductors. However, if you just jump right into more advanced exercises like Copenhagen's or adductor leg lifts just because you saw it online, it could lead to some issues because your adductors probably aren't going to be prepared. This is just a really nice, gentle way to get acclimated with adductor work, with the whole idea of hip adduction in a really safe and comfortable environment. And once you get proficient here, then you know that your body will have the tissue tolerance and the strength and stability to then move on to more advanced progressions. All right, next up, move number 4 is going to be sideline adductor leg lifts. All right, so you're gonna start off in this calendar pose. You're gonna bring your back leg here. You're gonna bring it in front and cross it over. Now from here, we're gonna raise this back leg here up towards the ceiling. So it's gonna be like this and raise directly up towards the ceiling. And with this base here, you can be here, you can be like this, true beach model calendar pose. You can be like this, whatever you really want that's comfortable for you here is fine, but you wanna just really think about using your adductors to lift your leg up and then bring it back down, all right? Try not to flop back and forth. You really wanna be sure to use control, use mind-muscle connection with your adductors as you go back and forth. And one thing you're really looking out for is not bringing your leg out in front or too far back. You want to imagine that there's a wall right behind you. You can even do this on a wall right behind you, and you're sliding your leg up the wall before bringing it back down. Now, a lot of times with moves online, you might see exercises where you're using hip adduction from a standing perspective or a kneeling position. I really like the sideline adductor leg lift because you're in a more stable position. You're in a much more comfortable position, and that allows you to really focus in and hone in on your adductors as you perform the leg lift. Now, once you get pretty proficient with this, I like to add an ankle weight or maybe even a weight plate just on this side, and that allows you to load up the adductors even a little bit more. But this is a really nice way to progress from the glute bridge with adductor squeeze into something that's a little bit more, even more isolated. All right, next up, we're gonna grab a mini band for banded hip flexion work. All right, so with the mini band, you're gonna place it around your toes and you're gonna lay down on your back. From here, lengthen out and bring your knee up towards your chest as high as you can. You wanna try to aim for full range of motion. You're gonna hold it for 5 seconds before bringing it back down. And you're really thinking about using your hip flexor muscles out here and also your groin muscle, hip flexor muscles in here as you bring the knee up towards your chest. We're really trying to get it so that your knee is past your belly button in order to get full range of motion here, full range hip flexion, and really loading that pattern. Now you can do this with the band or you can do it with your hand as well. You can lay on your back, place your hand on your thigh, and resist your knee pulling in by pushing out against it, like that. And then letting it slide back down, and then again, really letting it come up while you resist it in order to feel your adductors and your hip flexors working. Now your adductors, they're not only responsible for hip adduction, but they're also responsible for hip extension as well as hip flexion. That's right, we're including it into the mix. All right, next up, we're gonna grab a longer band for banded hip internal rotation work. All right, so you've got a much larger band, a much thicker band. You're gonna place your foot in it, and from there, place it right around your hamstring knee joint area. Now from there, you're gonna get set up like so, get up into a tall position, and you're going to drive your knee down towards the floor so that your hip can internally rotate and then come back up. I really want you to go slow here. You could be relaxed and kind of do this motion, but I want you to be much more engaged, much more active. So you're gonna be upright, you're gonna push into the floor with this foot here and really drive that knee, focusing on your adductors working and focusing on getting good hip internal rotation as you perform this movement. Now, like I was talking about before, your adductors are involved more than just hip adduction. They're not only involved for that, but they're also involved in hip extension as well as hip flexion, but they also play a role in terms of hip internal rotation, which is why we've included it into our routine. All right, move number 7 out of 10 is going to be Copenhagen plank variations. All right, now with the Copenhagen plank, you're gonna be set up perpendicular next to a bench, preferably a low bench. And from here, you're gonna get your knee at a 90-degree angle on top of the bench. And I'm sure you've done a side plank before. That's basically what you're gonna be performing, except your knee is gonna be supporting you in this bottom position. So you're gonna raise yourself up, get into a straight line from the crown of your head all the way down to your knee. And what's really supporting you is not only your core and obliques, but also your adductors in this very static, isolated, isometric hold position. So you're gonna hold this for about 20 to 30 seconds or so before switching sides. Now, in this position is called the short lever position. It's a great way to enter into Copenhagen planks. Once you get pretty proficient there, you can go into longer lever Copenhagen work. So you can go like this, just extend the leg. All right, so just like this, and now you're in a much more challenging position on the adductors. All right, now from there, you can even weight it. So you can put a weight plate, a dumbbell, anything on your side to add additional load to your adductors and stress them out that way. And then finally, in order to make it more dynamic, you can do adductor dips from both a short lever and a long lever position. So this is what that looks like. You're back in this short lever. And this time, instead of just statically holding it, you're actually gonna go into a dynamic up and down motion like so. So an added element of dynamic stability, more of an active contraction back and forth. And then finally, with a longer lever, you can achieve the same thing. Now, all over social media, anytime the adductors are brought up, you're gonna see Copenhagen planks. They're a sexy exercise, they look cool, but notice how it's number 7 out of 10 of my progression. This is really challenging, really difficult. So if you jump right into it, it could be too much for your adductors, can lead to strains, can lead to discomfort. So I don't want you to just jump right into this if you've never done isolated adductor work before. And so that's why we like to start off with mobility work, with then gentler isolation work like glute bridge adductor squeezes. Then we go into sideline adductor lifts. Then we go into some hip flexion work, some internal rotation work. We want to cover our bases before we then dive into something more advanced like these Copenhagen planks. And when you get started here, you're gonna wanna jump into the long lever with the dip because you think it's the most advanced variation, but I really urge you to take your time with the short lever isolated work. Take time here, really build up tolerance, then slowly progress to a longer lever position, then slowly progress to dips from a short lever all the way to a longer lever position. Just don't try to rush through the progression because each stage has its benefits and you don't wanna miss out on them. All right, move number 8 is going to be the sliding reverse lunge. Now this can be for reverse lunges of any variation, but I really like the sliding reverse lunge, and you can use a furniture slider, you can use a valve slide, you can use towels or socks on a hardwood floor. Anything where you can slide is going to be perfectly fine. You're gonna place it down on the floor, and you're gonna place your toes directly in the middle. And then from here, you're gonna slide back into a reverse lunge position before sliding yourself back up. Again, you're coming down and you're allowing weight on this back leg, just like a regular reverse lunge. I don't want you to think that this back leg has to be perfectly weightless and you need to put all of your weight on the stance leg. I want weight here. You're gonna come down and back up. And you can use dumbbells, you can use kettlebells, you can have a goblet hold, you can even have a barbell as you go through this sliding lunge variation. So like I was saying before, move number 8 is going to be lunge variations of any kind. So you can do reverse lunges, forward lunges, walking lunges, Bulgarian split squats, really anything that splits your legs linearly is what we're looking for. But I really like the sliding lunge because again, we're putting weight on this back leg. We're actively getting down in position, we're lengthening the hip flexors, the adductors as we're coming down, and they're working really hard here before then coming back up. Now, you get adductor strength and adductor length as you split your legs into a regular reverse lunge, but I really like how you have to control every degree of motion as you're coming down. And especially because if you're not actively controlling it, your foot would just fly back, right? So that's why the slider adds a really nice balance and dynamic component of stability as you're going through the movement. All right, move number 9 is going to be the goblet lateral squat. So with this one, you're gonna get your feet about 2 times shoulder width apart. I want your feet relatively pointed straight, and from there, you're gonna sit your hips back and lean down to the side. All right, so I've got my dumbbell here or kettlebell in the goblet position. I'm gonna sit all the way back and down to the side before coming back up. You can alternate sides, but I'll stick with the same side here just for continuity and back up. All right, now I'm really thinking about as I'm lowering down, I'm really locking out this leg and I'm really sitting my hips back and letting my torso lean forward as I do so before coming back up. And you're getting a ton of lengthening in this adductor as you're going through this movement. Now, I love the lateral squat, or really any lateral lunging variation, because most of the time in the gym, we're gonna be squatting like this, we're gonna be deadlifting, Romanian deadlifting, we're gonna be doing leg extensions. Everything is very hip to shoulder width apart, whereas with the lateral squat, lateral lunge, we're getting twice that distance, and we're covering much more range of motion. Now we're getting into more multi-planar work, we're covering a higher degree of range of motion, and it's just a really nice way to get some functional training into your routine. The problem with the lateral squat is that just like the Copenhagen plank, people jump to it way too quickly. Again, notice how this is number 9 of my 10 top prehab moves for adductors. You really need to build up to this before just jumping right in, going into aggressive lateral lunge variations. However, once you are through this progression, you can be very safe and comfortable knowing that you've built up the foundation to then move on to these more advanced variations. But I really like the lateral squat because not only are we getting length as we're dropping down, but we're also getting strength as well. And that combination really lends itself well to building resiliency and tissue tolerance in this area. All right, so move number 10 is going to be the speed skater. All right, so we've gone from mobility to isolated strength, to more static isometric strength, to more dynamic stability, to more strengthening moves, to more multiplanar strengthening moves, and now we're finally at power and dynamic exercises. You could have a whole slew of exercises here, but today we're gonna go over the speed skater. So for the speed skater, what you're gonna do is you're going to stride laterally side to side, all right? Now, it can be as slow as this. You're just striding like this and just getting comfortable with the movement, and then you can eventually go larger and larger and quicker, and you can even add weight in the form of a medicine ball, a kettlebell, a dumbbell. You can hold it as you go side to side in this dynamic fashion. Now, obviously the speed skater has a lot of carryover in terms of athleticism. Athletes know that they can't just do slow or static, isolated adductor work and then expect to perform their best on the field because they're moving high speed really rapidly in a chaotic environment. And that's why these dynamic exercises like speed skaters or let's say step-up jumps can play a massive role in terms of building more tolerance with those dynamic high-speed ballistic movements. But just for your everyday life purposes, if you are, let's say, running up a hill or a trail or doing really anything where you're leaping over something, you're gonna need some element of dynamic strength and stability in your adductors, which is why I think it's really important to include dynamic, power, reactive exercises into your routine. And there you have it, 10 prehab exercises to keep your adductors and groin mobile, strong, and bulletproof. Remember to pick and choose the ones that you feel you need the most and insert them into your routine. I promise you that you'll notice a big difference in your performance and injury resilience. By the way, if you're looking for workouts that blend mobility, athletic performance, and functional strength all seamlessly into one program, you can download our free guide, Sustainable Strength. It includes a sample week of workouts that does exactly that, and you can find that in the description box below. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button down below, subscribe to our channel to see more content just like this, and let me know in the comment section down below which exercise was your favorite. We have a ton more videos coming down the pipeline, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.